Hello guys, how are you? I hope you all are doing great and studying regularly. Okay, so in the previous lesson we learnt about market price and factor cost. Okay, and we also find out the relationship between market price and factor cost. Then we came to national income, and national income is this at factor cost at constant prices. Then we did one example of calculating GDP, GNP, GDP at MP, NNP, everything. Okay, so we calculated everything here, and I wind up the class with the per capita income, that it represents the average standard living of individual. Okay, which is the great indicator of economic growth. So in this class we are going to start with a first topic with new page, fresh start, that is transfer payment. Okay, so first of all, what is transfer payment? So it is basically the payment which is made by the government to individual for which there is no economic activity in return is given by this individual. Okay, so if I tell you the from example, like if you get anything without working for it, that is basically a transfer receipt. Okay, similarly if you pay someone without taking services from him, that is called as transfer payment. So transfer payments are basically given by the government. Okay, and they don't expect any service in return. For example, you can say scholarship. Okay, and second you can say pension. Okay, so these are all the form of transfer payments. Okay, so this was all about the transfer payment. So let's move on to some new topic. Next topic, that is three methods to estimate the national income. Okay, so methods, national income accounting. So first method is output method or product method, which you can say product method. Okay, we will discuss all the three method one by one. So in this output method, as the name suggests, national income is measured by the flow of goods and services, that is output which you have produced. Okay, so we calculate the money value of all the final goods and services that is produced in an economy during a year. And the point to be noted here is that final goods, what are final goods, what do we consider as a final goods? So final goods are those goods which are directly consumed and not used in further production process. Okay, and it is also subjective, like for you bread may be your final good because you are directly consuming it, but for some bakery person bread is not a final good because it is not directly consumed. What he will do, he will convert bread into cake and then sell it off to the consumer, so the cake is the final good. So uh, basically final good is that good in which no value addition is possible. Okay, so see, you can convert bread from cake, okay, but you cannot convert cake from anything further, so you cannot add further value to the cake. Okay, talking in broader sense, so that means when value addition process stop and it is directly ready for the consumption, so these are known as final goods. Okay, and similar to, in contrast to this, there is intermediate good, which you must have known that which can be further used in production process. Okay, and you know that the value of intermediate good is already included in the value of final good, because in the bread is the intermediate good which we were taking to make cake. Okay, so whenever you are selling the final cake market price, so the cake include the value of bread also, because the producer will also charge you the value of bread and everything, sugar and everything, and he will add on and then he will charge on this final MRP. Okay, so basically value of the intermediate good is already included in the final goods, so we don't have to calculate this value again while doing the output method, we don't have to add this also, intermediate goods also, because if we do this, it will just lead to the double counting problem. Okay, you will lead to double counting, like you are adding bread here also, like it's 20, and it's 40 plus 20. Okay, 20 is the cost of bread which is already included, so it is 60. So you are adding this also and this also, so but this is already included in this, so if you add both these two, so it will lead to double counting, so we will only take the final good, that is cake. Okay, so this was about the output method. Second, we will talk about the expenditure method. So now producer has produced the output, okay, and they have given the MRP to all their products. Now what will happen? The goods will go into the market, and what will consumer do? Consumer will start consuming it. So when consumers start consuming it, they will be going to incur some expenditure. Like if I want to purchase a packet of Lays, so I will be giving 10 rupees to that person. So I am doing expenditure. Okay, and so basically when good comes into market, consumer do the expenditure, and what do? We calculate the total of the expenditure as a whole GDP, that is measured as a flow of expenditure. Okay, so now here GDP can be some total of, there can be expenditure can be subdivided into many parts. First of all, there is private consumption part. Second, the which is done by the private household. Then it comes the government consumption, which is done by the consumption expenditure, which is done by government. Okay, and there comes net exports. Okay, and gross capital formation. It can be government also and private also. Okay, so this was about the expenditure method. Now third, we have income method. Okay, so now consumer has done the expenditure, consumer, government, whatever. He has done the first output was produced. Okay, then expenditure was done by producer, consumer. Then when expenditure was done by consumer, so it generated income. It generated income of the producer. Okay, so now in this method, you know that what we can do, we can measure as a flow of factor income. National income can be measured as a flow of factor income. And now you know that there are generally four factors of production: labor, capital, land, and entrepreneurship. So you can take out from here that labor get wages and salary, and what you get on capital, that is interest and rent on land, and entrepreneurship get profit as their denomination. So what we do here, we can add the wages and salary, interest, rent, and profit to calculate the GDP. Okay. Also, there is one point to note here, is that there are some self-employed person. This is an important point. Self-employed person who employ their own labor and capital. Like if I give the example, like doctor. Okay, so doctor has its own capital and own labor. Okay, so and there are advocates, CA, lawyers. Okay, so there can be many income. It is basically the miscellaneous part. So we call this miscellaneous part as mixed income. Okay, the income of self-employed person, we call it as a mixed income. And the subtotal of this factor income, all this factor income is known as net domestic product at factor cost. Okay, so this was all about the method. So you calculate from any method, the answer will be going to same, because the total expenditure of goods and services, first part, that is your gross national expenditure, must be equal to the value of goods and services produced. That however you have done the expenditure, that much quantity has been produced. Okay, like you have produced 40 quantity, so we consider here that there is no saving, everything is done in consumption. So you have done 40 consumption only, And since there's 40 rupees you have given to, again while doing the expenditure, you have given to some retail shop owner or wholesale shop owner, so he got 40 as his income. Okay, so in total we get 40 as a GDP. Okay. So yeah, it means that your answer will be going to be same from any method you calculate. Okay, and in this you at last you will get net, but in this too it will be gross. Okay, it basically depends upon the depreciation. Okay, so you have to check it out, whatever is given in the question. Okay, so now I will talk about a little bit on base year. So first of all, what is base year? It is a specific year from which economic growth is measured. We have already studied this. Okay, and it is allocated a value of 100 in index. Okay, one point to remember here, it has 100 value in the index. If you want to, and you know that if you want to calculate at prevailing prices of the current year, that it will be current prices, and if you want to calculate as base year prices, then it will be termed as constant prices. Okay, and we calculate as the base year prices so that to negli neglect the impact of inflation while calculating it. Okay, so now the base year also change periodically to take into account the structural changes which take place in the economy, and it is all decided by the government. Okay, so they can make they can give you false report also by choosing some wrong base year, so that they want to show in public that they have done many growth, but it's all manipulation. So it can be manipulated by the base year, and government do that. But if we are playing fair, then a base year should be the normal year in which there is no large fluctuation in production, trade, and price of commodity in general. Okay, and there should be reliable data available for it. Okay, and it should be as recent as possible. If we So these are the 3 points to remember while taking the base year. Okay, and otherwise it's all dependent on the government. They can choose anyone, they have the monopoly to choose. Okay, and they will choose that only, so that in comparison it will uh, sound good. Okay, and it will looks great on sheets whenever you are showing the result to the public that we have made so much growth. Okay, so that was all for today's class, guys. I hope you understood this concept. So in the next class we are going to start with new